Watch where you're going, old hag. The diner went silent. A 75-year-old widow stood frozen in the middle of the aisle, her hands shaking, a bowl of hot soup trembling in her grip. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean to. The man stood up, and then he slapped her. The sound echoed across the room. No one moved, no one spoke, except the biker sitting 3 tables away, because the woman he had just slapped was his mother. Before we continue, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy emotional, real lifestyle stories with powerful twists and deep lessons. Stories like this remind us that kindness still matters, and that sometimes the strongest people are the quietest ones. The old woman's name was Eleanor Whitman, 75 years old, a widow for 11 years, barely 5 feet tall, thin arms, fragile fingers, grey hair always tied neatly into a small bun at the back of her head. Every Tuesday evening at exactly 6:40 p.m., Eleanor walked into Rosie's diner and sat at the same corner table by the window. Same routine, same order. Tomato soup, half a grilled cheese, a cup of tea she rarely finished. She had been doing this ever since her husband Frank died in that same booth from a sudden heart attack. The diner was the last place where she still felt close to him. The staff knew her. The regulars barely noticed her. She was quiet, polite, and invisible, and that was exactly why Mark Collins chose her. Mark Collins was the kind of man who walked into a room like he owned it. Loud voice, rough laugh, smelled of alcohol and cheap cologne. The type who treated waitresses like trash and felt powerful only when someone else felt small. That night, Eleanor had accidentally brushed his arm while trying to pass between tables. It wasn't even a push, just a light touch. "Oh, I'm so sorry, dear," she had said softly. Mark looked at her like she'd insulted his entire bloodline. "Watch where you're going, old hag." Eleanor froze, her face turned red. "I truly didn't mean you people think because you're old you can just do whatever you want," he said, standing up. She shook her head. "I just wanted to get back to my seat." And then he slapped her, not hard enough to knock her down, just hard enough to humiliate her. Just hard enough to remind her that she was small, weak, and alone. Her glasses fell to the floor. The soup spilled, burning her hand slightly. Her cheek turned red instantly. The entire diner watched and did nothing. Except one man. 3 tables away, a tall figure in black leather slowly stood up. Broad shoulders, muscular arms covered in faded tattoos, long dark hair tied back, heavy biker boots, a motorcycle helmet resting on the table beside his untouched coffee. His name was Daniel Whitman, and Eleanor was his mother. Daniel hadn't planned to be there. In fact, Eleanor didn't even know he was in town. For years people said Daniel had disappeared. Some said prison, some said gangs, some said he was dead. The truth was simpler. Daniel had joined a motorcycle club straight after leaving the army. He drifted, lived on the road, barely called, always moving, always running from something he couldn't name. But 3 months earlier, he had received a letter from Eleanor. Her handwriting was shaky. "I don't want to worry you, sweetheart. I'm okay, just tired. Sometimes people are not very kind anymore. I miss you." That one line haunted him, so he came back, not to announce himself, not to confront her, just to watch her from a distance, to make sure she was okay. And now he was watching a stranger slap his mother. Daniel stood up slowly, not rushed, not angry, calm, the kind of calm that comes right before a storm. Mark was still yelling, "Don't touch me again, you hear me?" Eleanor bent down, shaking, trying to pick up her glasses. That's when Daniel spoke. "Step away from her!" His voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the room like a blade. Mark turned around, looked him up and down, and laughed. "Who the hell are you?" Daniel took one step forward. "Her son." Eleanor looked up. For a moment, she didn't recognize him. Then she whispered, "Danny?" His chest tightened. "Yes, Mom." Mark scoffed. "So what? You gonna cry about it? Daniel looked at the red mark on Eleanor's cheek, then at Mark, then at the waitress behind the counter who looked like she might cry. You're going to apologize, Daniel said. Mark laughed again. Or what? You going to hit me with your biker friends? Daniel shook his head slowly. No. He leaned in close, his voice dropping so only Mark could hear. I'm going to give you one chance to walk out of here with your dignity, or I'm going to make sure you never raise your hand to another woman again. For the first time, Mark stopped smiling. He shoved Daniel in the chest. Big mistake. Daniel didn't swing. He didn't punch. He didn't even look angry. He simply caught Mark's wrist mid-air, twisted it, hard. Mark screamed. Daniel forced him down onto his knees in front of the entire diner, his grip firm but controlled. You slapped a 75-year-old woman, Daniel said calmly. My mother. Mark was crying now. Real tears. I was drunk. Daniel raised his voice just enough for everyone to hear. Apologize! To her! Loud! Mark turned toward Eleanor, his voice shaking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have touched you. I'm sorry. Daniel released him. Mark scrambled up and ran out of the diner without even paying his bill. The door slammed behind him. No cheers, no clapping, just silence. Eleanor was shaking. Daniel walked to her and knelt in front of her like he was still 10 years old. I'm so sorry I wasn't here sooner. She touched his face, her eyes filling with tears. I thought I lost you. His voice broke. You didn't. I just took the long way back. The waitress brought ice for her cheek. The manager offered to call the police. Eleanor shook her head. No trouble, I just want my soup. Daniel almost smiled. They sat together at her usual table, for the first time in 11 years. And that's when Daniel noticed something. Her hands were bruised. Old bruises. Not from Mark. From something else. Mom, what's this? She hesitated, then finally said quietly, there are men like him everywhere now. They see me alone. They think they can say whatever they want. Push. Insult. Laugh. Daniel felt a kind of anger he hadn't felt even in war. How long has this been happening? She looked down. Long enough. That night, Daniel walked Eleanor home. He noticed the way she checked behind her every few steps, the way she avoided groups of men, the way she rushed to unlock her door like she was afraid. And something inside him broke. The next Tuesday, Daniel came back to the diner. Same time, same table. This time he wasn't alone. 2 bikers sat with him. The week after that, 4. The week after that, 6. Not aggressive. Not loud, just present. Leather jackets, calm eyes, respectful manners, and something changed. The bullies stopped coming. The rude men stayed quiet. The staff smiled more. The diner became safe again. And Eleanor? She walked taller. Straighter, because she wasn't invisible anymore. 3 months later, Mark came back. Sober. Clean. Quiet. He walked straight to Eleanor's table. Daniel stood up. Mark raised his hands. I just came to say, I'm really sorry. I was a mess back then. I got help. Eleanor studied him for a long moment, then nodded. I hope you're better now. Mark left. No drama, no violence, just accountability. Daniel sat back down, and Eleanor said something he would never forget. You know, Danny, strength isn't in your fists, it's in showing up. He swallowed hard, and for the first time in years, he felt like a son again. And if this story moved you, if you believe standing up for the weak still matters in this world, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes the real heroes aren't the loudest, they're just the ones who show up when it matters most. And sometimes the biker isn't there to destroy, he's there to protect.